You're listening to the Telltale channel. Don't forget to check me out on all social media: Patreon, Twitter, Teespring, and Etsy. All links can be found in the description or on my website, telltaleatheist.com. Welcome. Thank you guys for coming. How's it going today? Pretty well? I'll tell you what, I will just get right into the subject and explain why I have a thumbnail that looks that way. That thumbnail that I put up is actually a propaganda poster from the old Soviet Union. That's what I wanted to look at today. It's a propaganda poster, an anti-religion propaganda poster, demonizing Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, if you've studied World War II for any length of time, you'll probably recognize the style of propaganda poster. In World War II, they tended to exaggerate features of people that they didn't like in an attempt to dehumanize them further. Now, the poster that I showed in the thumbnail is this poster right here. It's an anti-Jehovah's Witness propaganda poster, of all things, from an anti-religion series of posters released in the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union was notoriously communist and anti-religion. And as a result of the Soviet Union's anti-religion stance and pro-communism stance, America, or the United States, went in the exact opposite direction intentionally. They did everything they could to demonize communism and make people in the U.S. as religious as possible. In fact, during I guess you'd call it the war with the Soviet Union. I think we were at war, the Cold War. During the adversarial state that we were in with the Soviet Union in the United States, that is actually the time period around which we added "In God We Trust" to our money and "One Nation Under God" to the Pledge of Allegiance. The U.S. did everything they could to make the U.S. population as religious as possible because the Soviet Union was so anti-religion. So this is an example, what I have on screen here, of an anti-Jehovah's Witness propaganda poster. There are a bunch of different ones that I want to look at, but we'll start here. It's, of course, in a different language. It translates to... there's a little section on the side here about what it says and what it means. So let me just read the section. Kingdom of Jehovah poster from the collection In True Light, 1962. The Soviets regarded Jehovah's Witnesses as subversive agents. Newspaper Izvestia described them as an international political organization. Right off the bat, it's incorrect. Jehovah's Witnesses have always been opposed to politics, being involved politically to any degree. But they described them as a political organization deployed against communism. The sect of Jehovists, oh, I love it, Jehovists, that's funny, carries out espionage activities on the directives of the USA. Completely made up, of course. The poster depicts a witness with spying equipment in his eyes and ears. Yeah, if you were wondering what his eyes are made of, they're cameras. And he's got a radio in his ear. I guess he's watching and listening and reporting back to the United States or whatever. The poster depicts a witness with spying equipment in his eyes and ears, and whose caption reads, "Don't believe in his meekness. He doesn't care about the soul. Such a witness of Jehovah is a traitor to the motherland, a spy." Now, we can look back at this stuff and see how completely ridiculous it really is, but this is a perfect example of actual, real persecution. You know, I sit here day in and day out. This is my job, listening to extremists like the people you find on the TV show Flashpoint, listening to televangelists and, Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons and all these other extremists talk about being persecuted, when in reality, these televangelists are the ones persecuting others. it's something you really can't understand unless you've experienced it, feeling persecution. They can pretend that they are persecuted all they want, but they really have no idea what it's like to be persecuted. They really don't. This is a perfect example of persecution against a group of people that was deeply damaging to society. And there are actually a lot of examples, so I wanted to take a look at some of the other posters here. The title of this article, this is on The Guardian, by the way. The title is Down with God, How the Soviet Union Took on Religion in Pictures. Here, you know what? I'm actually going to make my screen bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better here. There we go. Okay. Godless at the Machine magazine, 1923. Wow. That's actually really old. So the Jehovah's Witness one was, I think, 1962 or 1964. This is 1923. The caption says, Godless at the Machine was one of the two anti-religious propaganda magazines distributed by the Soviet state, which included satirical images and articles taking aim at the faithful. This image, called the Red Flood, depicts the Holy Family assailed by the might of the state. Bizarre. Here's another one. This is kind of interesting. Godless at the Machine magazine, 1924. Titled The Imperishable Ones, the image shows God saying, You've let me down, my minors. You've let me down, my minions. I'm ashamed to be seen on earth now, to a group of skeletons dressed in religious garb. Wow, that's really weird. It's kind of a weird insight into their headspace at the time, right? This is just an undated poster. The words on the anti-religious propaganda poster, which would have been posted on walls around the USSR, read, a prison for heart and mind. And it's got a cross in the window. A prison for heart and mind. Fascinating. 1975 poster. The most prominent cosmonaut atheist was German Titov. I believe he was the first one to space, the first person to ever go to space, I think. Don't quote me on that. Of course, the U.S. was the first, the U.S. were the first ones to put a person on the moon. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin went on that mission too. I think he went on the moon, and some other people. But yeah, I think Russia or the Soviet Union were the first ones to reach space. So it says the most prominent cosmonaut atheist was German Titov, whose flight in August 1961 followed Yuri Gagarin's that April. In 1962, he told an audience at the Seattle World's Fair that he had seen no gods or angels in space, and that he believed in mankind's strength and reason. This poster, titled There Is No God, commemorates him. Wow, that's really fascinating, man. Once again, I'm actually I'm an atheist. I don't buy any of this nonsense. But I certainly don't hate religious people. I have anything against them at all. In fact, I think we have to work with religious people to abolish extremism in the world, or in the U.S. more specifically. We have no choice, and I'm glad to know that I have a lot of Christian subscribers out there, like a disproportionate number. Usually I do a poll like once a year, see how many Christian subbies I have. Maybe I'll do another one soon. But anyways, so I guess the first man in space was in 1961. Then this guy was in April 1962, I believe. And the U.S. landed on the moon July 20th, 1969. I know that specifically because I was born on the 20th anniversary of the moon landing, July 20th, 1989. Cover of the poster, Collection in True Light, 1962. If you look closely, you can see that here's another depiction of the Jehovah's Witness caricature that they've drawn up, with exaggerated, dehumanizing features, and he's carrying a watchtower. The cover of this collection of anti-religious posters shown in a Leningrad exhibition includes a includes a fighting pencil and the light beam of truth exposing a babushka, which is a grandmother, holding a bottle of holy water, a praying man with a Jehovah's Witness magazine, The Watchtower, a vodka-sipping priest, a man on his knees with a bottle of holy tincture, and a bottle of cognac. Just so fascinating, man. I honestly, I'm so fascinated by this. This is bizarre. Just bizarre stuff, dude. Godless Magazine, 1934, titled The True Face of the Catholic Church. This depicts a skeletal spider pope overseeing the burning of books by Marx, Lenin, and Darwin. Of course, Marx, Lenin, and Darwin were kind of heroes of the Soviet Union. That's just really interesting, man. Just absolutely fascinating. And really creepy at the same time. This one's from 1930. This image depicts a priest climbing on a slumbering drunk in order to saw an electricity pylon with a crucifix. The slogan says, everybody understands that where work is being done, the priest and the drunk are both doing harm. Just crazy, man. I obviously don't believe in hate against anybody for any reason ever. That includes religious people, full stop. I'm an atheist. I do not stand for any of these propaganda posters. I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I'm honestly disgusted by the propaganda poster they had for Jehovah's Witnesses. Though I have left the religion behind, I still identify as, that's part of my culture. I'm a cultural Christian, and I am a cultural Jehovah's Witness. Whether I'm an actual Jehovah's Witness or not, I'm not. But, I still identify that way. And I honestly think this is simply fascinating and disturbing simultaneously. Poster, 1977. In this poster, the radio is broadcasting Ave Maria, slander of the USSR, anti-Sovietism, and our father, conflating religion with political attack. The caption reads, another gullible sectarian is glad to hear prayers from over there, quote unquote. They are, as a rule, stained with outright anti-Sovietism. Wow. This is just insane, dude. Poster, 1981. The cover of a 1981 poster collection called Light Against Darkness shows a boy trying to wrest himself away from a babushka, which is a grandmother, pulling him to a shadowy church. That is something else, right? Like, even down to the way they depict the church as, like, dark and dingy and dim is all propagandistic. Just fascinating. And here's the Jehovah's Witness one, of course. This one is deeply disturbing for a lot of reasons. It's reminiscent of the famous anti-Jewish propaganda from World War II Germany. The Soviet Union had a lot of the same views as World War II Germany about Jews and other religions, not just the Jewish people. In fact, a lot of anti-Semitism actually, like a lot of the anti-Semitic tropes and propaganda came straight out of Russia, pre-Soviet Russia. There's this 1902... Okay, let me explain what happened. In 1902, a series of newspapers start releasing these little blurbs. They were, I don't know, a page long or something, and they were called protocols. Okay, so they had protocols 1 through 27. And these protocols, they claimed, were found on Jewish soldiers, right? And when you dig into these protocols, I actually have them right here. Here's protocol number 1. Wait. No, this is just the introduction. Oop. Let me find protocol 1. When you read them, this is, by the way, this document I have, this PDF, it's from the FBI vault. It was declassified. It was part of the FBI. This is protocol 1 right here. When you read them, it's basically the supposed Jewish plot to take over the world, effectively. It's all completely made up. Total nonsense. They claimed they found it on a Jewish soldier. They didn't. In 1902, that's when these start coming out, right? 1905, this guy, Sergei something, I forget his name now, compiled them into a book, all 27 protocols, and he wrote some commentary about it. And this is the book. I have the book right here from 1905, Tsarist Russia, right? The protocols is what they're called for short. The protocols are basically the root of every major conspiracy theory that you find today, every one of them. The claim that Satanists are sacrificing kids in these ritual sacrifices or whatever came from the protocols. The claim that the elite, the cabal, is trying to control the media and the big banks came from the protocol. The claim that they're trying to replace us by having more kids than we are, protocols. It all came from this. The Great Reset conspiracy theory, this. The claim about, adrenochrome and drinking blood and all that stuff, it came from this document right here, 1902. No joke. It turns out, though, the London Times back in... so the protocols are released in a series of newspapers back in 1902. Guy compiles them into a book in 1905, and they were just spreading like wildfire, this book is, right? The predecessor or precursor to the KGB, which is a group called the Okhrana. It was like the KGB of Tsarist Russia before the Soviet Union existed. They started printing copies of this book, the protocols, and distributing it all over the place, through Russia, through the Middle East. Germany got their hands on it, and the Nazi Party starts spreading it through Germany, like all over the place, as much as they possibly could, because it makes all these claims about Jewish people being like in this huge cabal that are trying to control the world and destroy people's minds with Marxism and Darwinism, and it's just nuts, dude. It's absolutely nuts. It is uncanny how similar the talking points are in this to today. It's nuts. Now, I don't think that, I'm saying Kenneth Copeland is directly quoting from this 1902 document. Now, I don't think he's going to the document and looking for conspiracy theories to spread. I think he's probably digging up old conspiracy theories that he heard, or somebody suggests something to him that's straight out of protocols and he just starts repeating it. I'm not going to, sit here and claim that he's just sitting there going through protocols or something. But anyway, like I was saying, so Protocols, the book, is released in 1905, and then it's spread throughout Germany and the Soviet Union, basically, and the Middle East, right? 1921, August 17th, 1921. Yes, August 17th, 1921 rolls around, and the London Times does a piece on the protocols and uncovers that it was actually plagiarized, like 80% of it or something. 80% of these 27 protocols were plagiarized from an old book from 1864. It was a French book titled Maurice Joly's Dialogue in Hell between Machiavelli and Montesquieu, I think. They did a side-by-side comparison with Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and it was just direct quotes. So this book that they plagiarized was a satire book that never mentioned Jews once. It wasn't about Jews. It was just a joke that the predecessor to the KGB picked up and started distributing. So anyways, yeah, absolutely fascinating to kind of go through this thing and look at the uncanny parallels between then and now. It's nuts, dude. So I hear you asking, where did I find this? Where did I get a copy myself? The U.S. has historically kind of kept an eye on how much this spreads around. I don't think they've actually prevented it from being printed or anything, but they've kept an eye on it. So in the back, this, like I said, it's been declassified by the FBI, and it's on the FBI website. You can go to the FBI website and in their vault or whatever and look at this book on there. The reason that they have a copy, you'll find if you scroll to the end of this document or whatever, is people were receiving copies of these from 1958 or something all the way through to like 1977. And they were sending copies of it into the FBI with letters that you can read in the back that basically say, hey, somebody is passing these out in my town, and I thought you guys should know about it. John Edgar Hoover was the director of the FBI at the time. So 1958 to 1977, roughly, they received like tons of copies of this, right? I think 1994... or in the late 90s anyways, they declassified this document officially, and now we have access to it on their website. Absolutely fascinating to, like, look at how these conspiracy theories spread through society and everything. It's just nuts, dude. Absolutely nuts. Like, just look at one of these letters. Here, let's find one near the bottom, just see what it says here. Hold on. Okay, here's one. To the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Washington, D.C. Dear Sir, I would appreciate it very much if I could have information concerning the protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. So the protocols of the Elders of Zion were the newspaper clippings that were all compiled into one. The book that it was compiled into, written by Sergei, whatever his name was, in 1905, was titled The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. So that's why they're referring to it as that. The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, or more commonly known as the Zionist. I know it as Protocols. I am trying to search out more material concerning these people, for I fear they are a big threat to the world. With your help and information, I can better understand this movement. Thank you for taking out so much of your time to do this favor for me. Absolutely crazy, dude. So this one was from 1956, I think, this letter was. Oh, no. Maybe this is from 1970. It's really hard to tell. Yeah, maybe that one was from 1970. This one's from 1970, September 29th. That was his reply. According to some of these letters in the back, I read through a lot of them. I think that the FBI was trying to track down who was printing them in the United States and figuring out how many they were printing and where they were sending them and stuff. As far as I could tell, they tracked down 3 different people who were printing them and passing them out. One in New Jersey and a couple in the Midwest. I forget now. But yeah. Let's see. Dear Mr. Hoover, greetings. Enclosed is a very bad article copied for your inspection. Certainly, it is one of those works which run down the police, encourage anarchy, and disrespect for duly appointed authorities. I investigated the source and authenticity of the article as much as I could to date, and enclosed is a letter which details, with the result of the investigation, also a copy of a letter which explained my attitude to a close friend. It is self-explanatory. So they declassified this whole thing, but I guess they still, like, blocked out some of the names and stuff. Absolutely nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. So, anyways, yeah. Fascinating read, and I'm thinking that this is what I'm going to read next on my Telltale Reads channel. So, I just got through reading Greg Locke's book, This Means War, We Will Not Surrender Through Silence. Just finished that, 17th chapter. I think that just released today. Now I've started on this book called wait, let me find it. It is, wait, give me just a second here. Yeah, this book right here. We've started reading this one. President Donald J. Trump, the Son of Man, the Christ. We're reading it. The introduction is wild. Oh my God, is it a wild introduction. So we're reading that one, and when we're done with that, or maybe even in tandem, I'm not sure, I may read through Protocols, because you honestly have no idea, like, how many parallels there are in Protocols to the conspiracy theories you find running around today, especially in evangelical circles. It's just nuts, dude. It's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to cover some of that. I found that super fascinating. Hang on, let me just check. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's take a look at the last 5, like, what do you call it, like propaganda posters from the Soviet Union. And then we're going to watch a TV show called Flashpoint, where people are going over the deep end naturally. Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, the old Hercules guy, the dude from God's Not Dead. His wife, Sam Sorbo, was on this TV show called Flashpoint. I was thinking about watching some of that with you guys. So anyway, and I'll take a look at Super Chats in just a second. All right, let's take a look at the last couple of posters here. Poster from the collection in True Light, 1962. Titled in Holy Blinkers, this poster depicts 2 crafty figures leading an innocent third, using their Bible to prevent him from looking right or left. Wow. As Izvestia put it, I think Izvestia is the name of the magazine, or name of the newspaper. The Soviet people are, with all determination, exposing the anti-people nature of the sectarians. Sectarians, I'm assuming they mean like the religious people. No matter what god they may hide behind, for reasons of their own, sectarian preachers and their acolytes, covering in remote and fetid holes, morally and physically deform people, tear them away from working and social life, and corrupt the youth. Have you ever noticed how, going all the way back to at least 1902 with Protocols, and with all of these propaganda posters, 1962, all the way up to today with QAnon and other groups, it's always about saving the children. Have you guys ever noticed that? It's constantly this fear-mongering nonsense about how they're trying to take the children and all this stuff, right? It's insane. Godless Magazine, 1940. This image contrasts God's slaves on their knees and in the dark with the Soviet masters of life. CCCP. Wow, this is crazy, dude. So I guess the non-religious people are happy running around reading about communism, and the religious people are wasting their time bowing down to God or whatever. Just insane. Here's an interesting one. You know, some of these actually, there's some truth to some of this, right? This poster depicts Jesus as a capitalist hawking his wares. The caption reads, "Under the shop window, this weasel has set himself up nicely. There's a foolish fashion that means they'll snap his junk right up." 1984, cultural goods poster. You do find a lot of religious people selling crosses and all that other junk, right? I mean, that's a little bit, you know, mixing religion and capitalism seems a little underhanded to me, but that's neither here nor there. This one's fascinating, too. They were opposed to Islam. They were in Russia, as Soviet Union. They were pretty bigoted against Muslims in general. And here's the propagandistic attack route that they took against them. Women's Emancipation poster, 1977. It wasn't only Christianity the Soviets attacked. This poster takes aim at Islam, depicting a Muslim man and his donkey riding on the back of a downtrodden woman. The caption reads, "The essence of its character is clear. It operates on 2 levels. Up above, he's showing off his paper. Down below, he's true to Muhammad." Wow, man. It's just crazy to look at all this old stuff. Planetarium poster, undated. Here, the creepy man's shadow becomes a cross with religion written across it. In his pocket is a Bible. The caption reads, "Step across the ominous shadow and join the crowd in the joyful bustle of this day." That's just nuts, dude. Absolutely crazy. I'm so fascinated by this stuff, honestly. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a look at Super Chat, shall we? Let's see. Olivia May Julius. Hi, Owen. I'm a charter bus driver. Today, I was supposed to pick up a church group and take them to Florida. They saw I was trans and canceled their trip rather than help in Florida. Okay. Hey, that's fine, right? I know that hurts. I know what persecution feels like. I do. Not a whole lot of white, cis, straight men can really relate to the feeling of persecution, but I actually do understand. I'm an atheist, and as such, I've faced some level of persecution, but that's not the thing that I've felt deep pain over. The thing that I felt deep pain over regarding persecution was being an ex-Jehovah's Witness. Them disfellowshipping me and my friends and family excommunicating me and never speaking to me again. That's painful. So I absolutely understand that hurts. I do. I'm sorry that we live in a society where this is so prevalent. I wish that, we could push it forward and stop this kind of thing from happening. But just take solace in the fact that they got so bent out of shape that they didn't even get to go do the thing that they wanted to do. Fuck them, right? Let them go do whatever they want to do and eat themselves alive with hate on their own. You didn't need to help them do any of that stuff, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you so much for the super chat and becoming a member. Trey Coyuena, welcome. Got my Facebook hacked. Oh, shoot. Got my Facebook hacked. Waiting to get it back. Wow, that's not good. Well, I said that in a jovial voice at first because I thought it was going to be a good thing, and then I found out it was a bad thing. Sorry to hear that. That sucks, man. I don't use Facebook very often. It's very rare. But, yeah, always people out there looking for a way to hack your stuff. So make sure you use two-factor authentication. That's extremely important. And use a complex password. Use a password that's at least 16 characters long. As a software engineer for 6 years before I did YouTube, I take security very seriously. Yours truly, Number One Pony. Are you going to do the Pagan Invasion series anytime soon? It's on YouTube. I believe you should do the Halloween one on the 30th before Halloween. Possibly. I may. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'll just... Do you want to send me a link to it again? I forgot. Or I don't think I wrote it down. Just tweet or message me in the chat here at Owen Morgan Telltale with the link, and I'll take a look at that. City Rail Dude. Hey, Owen, since you're talking about Russia, the Russian Orthodox Church has been a rogue denomination of the rest of Eastern Orthodox before the war in Ukraine. We Eastern Orthodox do not believe in literal hell. Oh, fascinating. Yeah, I knew that the Russian Orthodox Church split off from Eastern Orthodox. I knew it was like kind of a branch of it or whatever. From my understanding, Catholicism is actually a branch off of Orthodox, right? So there's the Orthodox Church, and then it branched off into Catholicism and Eastern Orthodox. And then Protestantism has heavy influence from Catholicism, though they don't like to admit it. It's really interesting stuff. Thanks for the super chat. Ray Wright. I don't know if you remember, but a few weeks ago I told you I started a job at a daycare. I ain't had 5 days without being sick, and I currently have bronchitis, but I love working there and will continue. Well, that's good news. Really good to hear, but I'm sorry you're sick. Yeah, that sucks, man. You sure it's not like COVID or COVID inspired? Hopefully you get better, because that is not fun. Rooster Rachel, did you see I tweeted at you about Lauren Boebert? I'm not sure. I check Twitter pretty often. When was it? Was it recent? Once again, at me in the chat, at Owen Morgan, and I'll check and see what your answer is. Mr. Jukesman, when are you going to stream Elden Ring? Oh, good question. Yeah, I've never played Elden Ring, never even seen it played, I don't think. Just not really my cup of tea. I'm kind of an old school gamer rather than a newer gamer. So if new games come out, it'll take me a decade or so to get to them usually. Keep up the good work, distinguishing us regular Christians from the nut jobs. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming and supporting me. Appreciate that. We'll continue to distinguish between the nutter butters for sure. Just checking through the chat. Okay, I think I'm good. Yeah. The Great Schism. Right. That's what it was called. The Great Schism, where you had Orthodoxy, and then it split into Eastern Orthodoxy and Catholicism. It was a huge thing back in the day. It's crazy. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we play a video game while watching Sam Sorbo talk about all kinds of crazy stuff, shall we? All right, let's see here. Give me just a second. Hang on. All right, awesome. I'm going to stop recording for a second. Okay, cool. Hang on. Wow, that's not good. It seems to be like dying on me. That's really strange. Like my recording for my game system. All right, hang on. Let me just stop the recording again and... All right, hang on. All right, that'll work. Okay, sweet. Let's play some Super Mario Land, shall we? While listening to Sam Sorbo go absolutely batty. B-A-T-T-Y, that is. Oop, hang on. Let me fix my audio for it. 1 second here. Okay, cool.
Bring in Sam Sorbo. Sam, good to have you back. Those who don't know Sam, Kevin is her husband.
Yeah, Kevin Sorbo. So he was in God's Not Dead. He played that, that evil atheist professor who absolutely hated religious people. It was just ridiculous, dude. Just the whole thing was ridiculous top to bottom. Well, anyway, he also most famously probably played Hercules from the old TV show in the 90s, I believe. It was called Hercules, I think. And yeah, it just... the whole thing's pretty ridiculous. But anyway, let's keep listening here.
So Kevin is really
People
Sam's
call me
husband.
Hercules.
Yes.
Hercules, clever.
So yeah, let me give your bio here, because I always just jump into it with you. You're a freedom advocate and expert on home learning. She's an author, podcast host, producer, actress, host of Underground Education Community, and launched a series of events by the same name. Explain what that's all about, Sam.
Well, so I developed a tool for parents called the Playbook for Home Learning. Oh, look, I have one right there.
Oh, yeah, she is like super, like this is her whole cause, I guess you could say. Her whole cause is all about homeschooling kids. She thinks that like the government is trying to like ruin kids by, lying to them and, whatever other nonsense these people believe. It's just nuts, dude. It's just nuts.
The Playbook for Home Learning is a workbook for parents to work.
Actually, it's a piece of propaganda. Oh my God, I should get a copy of it and talk about it. That would be awesome, right?
Through what we actually are talking about when we talk about education, because what they are accomplishing in the schools, we can see very well with our own little eyes, they are not accomplishing education. In fact, they're no longer interested in education. But that leaves us wondering, well, what is education? Because
Well, actually, it leaves me wondering what they're interested in. So she's talking about like I guess the left or whatever, quote unquote, the left, some evil, secretive elite group that's trying to control kids or whatever. You remember what I was talking about with protocols earlier? I mean, the claims they make about the left are extremely similar to protocols, like some secret cabal out there that's like trying to control people or whatever. What are they interested in if not education? Like, she's saying that the people who set curriculums at schools are not actually interested in educating kids. What they're interested in is what? Indoctrinating them in, I don't know, preparing them to be like satanic, like sacrifices or something. Like what? What are you worried about them teaching kids?
The ones who taught us how to think about education, and they're clearly completely off the rails. And so the playbook comes with 15 videos. So it's an online teaching tool for parents to help them to grasp and to get their arms around home learning. I don't call it homeschooling because it's not school at home. School is child abuse, and I've got a...
What? School is child abuse? Wow. I don't call it homeschooling because school is child abuse. Oh my God, dude, this is insane. Oh my God, this woman is something else.
Ways to Sunday to teach you why it is child abuse, but there's an easier...
Oh God, please tell me why it's child abuse. I want to know so badly.
Or better way to do the home learning with your child. And so for everybody who joins the Underground Education Academy tonight, I will send you for free a physical copy of the playbook. The playbook's available digitally, but I also have physical copies, and I'm happy to give them to the people who subscribe within the next 24 hours on Underground Education Academy. And they just have to go to samsorbo.com in order to do that.
Okay, so here's the thing. There are so many scams and like propaganda, like magazines and stuff out there. Like there's this thing called, oh my God, what's it called? It's like a Mike Huckabee's Education for Kids, something or other. I don't exactly know what it's called now, but it's basically this piece of propaganda that's released by Mike Huckabee's company, and it teaches children about how Donald Trump is the biggest and the best president and all kinds of insane nutbaggery. What is it? Huckabee Kids. Let me just Google Huckabee Kids. Images. This is it right here. Help your kids learn the truth about President Trump and celebrate America with this free patriotic gift bundle. Oh, hang on. Let me pause this real quick. Yeah, so things like this, I would love to get a copy of this because it's so completely insane. Kid's Guide to President Trump. It's just pure unadulterated propaganda for real. And I desperately want to get a copy, but you know, the problem is that they charge, they say it's free to get, but they charge you like $1 for shipping and handling, and that's how they get you. They charge you that $1, and now they have your credit card information, and you have to cancel, or they charge you $20 the following month. It's a subscription service, and there's no obvious way to cancel. So I've really wanted to get a copy of it, but I don't want to give them my real credit card information. So naturally, I go about the process of setting up like a privacy.com account or something, right? Like set up these accounts with these companies that'll allow me to put a very specific amount on a very specific card so I don't have to worry about getting scammed. Well, they don't accept anything from privacy.com. They only accept your real bank account information, no more, no less. So I've been seriously considering getting a bank account that is only designed for scams. So I put like $20 in it, and then I use the bank account to buy stuff like Sam Sorbo's homeschooling kit or whatever, or, you know, Mike Huckabee's guide to President Trump for kids or whatever the hell it is. But I don't use it for anything else, and I only put like $20 in it, you know. That way I never, you know, they never have the ability to like steal my card information or drain my bank account or whatever else. I'm seriously considering setting something up like that. But I don't know. We'll see. One of these days, maybe. I would love to have a copy of Sam Sorbo's complete nutbaggery.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Sam, for doing that for our viewers. All right, so guys, let's jump right into what's happening. I woke up not long ago to see this clip from Tulsi Gabbard. Watch.
If you're unfamiliar, Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian disinformation agent who pretended to be in the Democratic Party for like a long, long time and was actually had a decent shot at, she wasn't, I don't think she ever thought she was going to win the primary in the Democratic primary to be president in 2016, I think. But, she was out on the debate stages. She was influencing the conversation and stuff, and she's very well liked by Bernie supporters. I thought she was okay at the time. But it became pretty clear to everybody eventually that she was obviously just a Russian disinformation agent, nothing more. She started spreading Russian propaganda around, and she even guest hosted Tucker Carlson's show at one point, and it's like she just recently came out and said, "I'm leaving the Democratic Party." And I was like, "Are you still here? I had no idea that you were still identifying with the Democratic Party. What? Since when? Oh my God." Anyway, that's Tulsi Gabbard. She's just a Russian disinformation agent and a newly minted member of the Republican Party. So
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers.
Remember what I said earlier about cabals and the protocols of the Elders of Zion? It's all straight out of that book. No joke. This whole idea of an elite cabal that's controlling people and trying to take over the media and the big banks and the military and all that stuff, it's all straight out of that anti-Jewish propaganda book from 1905.
Who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality.
I'm not hostile to people of faith and or spirituality. I am an atheist, and I am in no way hostile toward people of faith or spirituality. No joke. I'm really not. I have no issue with it. I will stand behind you and fight for you if religion is banned or something like that. I would never stand for that. What I do have a problem with is religious extremism, which is what the evangelical voting bloc or what the evangelicals in general stand for. Religious extremism. They want religious extremism to flourish. I mean, that's what Flashpoint is all about, this TV show that we're watching. Religious extremism. And evangelical control over the political system. That's what it's all about for these people.
Who demonize the police but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans. Who believe in open borders. Who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents.
Okay, I don't believe in defunding the police. I don't think that's really a particularly popular position. I don't think really almost anybody stood for defunding the police. I think we just want to, reorganize the funding of the police. That'd be fantastic. Maybe send some of the funding from the police to social workers and have social workers go out on some of the calls. If there's somebody who obviously has a mental health issue happening, I don't see why somebody with a badge and a gun can get this mental health or this person that's having a mental health issue. I don't see why we should send somebody to deal with someone like that and get them into a deadly game of Simon Says, honestly. So yeah, there's but what I just said just now, that's not a catchy slogan. So it's easy to demonize and twist things around and make it out to be something other than what it actually is. And that's basically what Tulsi Gabbard is doing. Twisting things around till it's unrecognizable to try to garner support among evangelical voters.
And above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war.
Yep.
Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the
Your mom.
powerful elite.
The powerful elite. Once again, I mean, there are people in the country who have like billions and billions of dollars. It's just like a disgusting amount of money. And they are controlling the political system to some degree. That is true. But you heard earlier her reference to the cabal. When she says powerful elite, she's not talking about like Jeff Bezos. She's talking about the cabal. She's talking about people who are trying to control the world, pull strings like puppet masters, and it's just all back to those Jewish conspiracy theories, seriously.
Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, then I invite you to join me.
Honestly, I thought she left the Democratic Party a long time ago. I don't know why she was even still here or still claiming to be here or whatever else. I would rather she not be involved in the Democratic Party at all. She just makes it look bad. So glad she's gone. I think she's just using this as an opportunity to gain a little bit of attention or notoriety or whatever, which obviously worked. She claims to have left the Democratic Party, something that she hadn't been behind for years. And suddenly, right-wing extremists like Flashpoint are out here singing her praises and playing this video from her and everything else. Just nuts, dude. Just type pagan invasion on YouTube. The Halloween one will be the video that shows up. Okay, got it. I will write that down. Let me, just so I don't forget again. Pagan invasion. Got it. Okay. Let's see here. Where was I? Had a friend I met in college who was homeschooled. All I can say is she never learned how to study properly and had a tough time taking tests. Yeah, I was homeschooled. My friend growing up was also homeschooled. It's not good. Homeschooling is bad. Now, you can do it correctly. Your chances of doing it correctly are low, but, let's say that you're really invested and you really want to help your kid do a good job and give them a better education than teachers could. Okay, fine. You know what you can't give them? You can't give them the socialization that comes along with going to a normal school. You can't give them that. I know this is probably unusual even for homeschool kids, but I didn't see or hear another human being for 2 or 3 years straight, except for my parents, the only people that I ever saw or dealt with or talked to, and they both had bipolar disorder. It just was not good. It's very difficult to make sure that kids continue to get the socializing or socialization or whatever, the interaction that they need. It's very, very difficult. So I'm just very opposed to homeschooling. Very opposed to it because of my experiences. Christopher Friend, Jesse Gender is being attacked by Matt Walsh, and never heard of this person. Who is it? That's a shame. And Matt Walsh has a history of demonizing people, of trying to scare the shit out of people by claiming that, they're out to get them or they're blah, 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 whatever other thing. He did the same thing to Boston Children's Hospital. You guys remember that? They were not doing what he was claiming that they were doing. And he claimed that, and he did it anyways. He claimed they were out there, giving surgeries to, 10-year-olds or whatever. That wasn't happening. Completely made up. Fear-mongering nonsense. And it worked. Honestly sad that this kind of garbage works. I'll have to take a look at that because next week on Sunday, wait, what is today? Today's Tuesday? Okay. On Sunday, I'm releasing a video about the whole stochastic terrorism thing. So keep a lookout for it. And I'll have some suggestions for how to help when dealing with that type of, attack that Matt Walsh is so fond of doing to people. You might find this amusing. My shrink is going to be looking your channel up because of your insights on that goofy cult we used to belong to. Really? Are you talking about JWs? That's cool. Very nice. Well, tell your shrink I said hey. Tell her I said how you doing. No, I'm just kidding. Don't say that. Okay. That's pretty cool. That's cool news. Happy to hear that. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Awesome. All right, let's keep listening to Flashpoint here.
John, I want to bring you in on this. Now, not only did she defect from her party, she's taking people with her. And I think that's the biggest news of all. Now, some are not really that surprised that she did this. Of course, doing this right before the midterms is definitely a blow to the Democratic Party. Tell the people what...
Not really. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard is not that influential, honestly. I mean, she has historically been, reasonably influential, I guess. Like I said, she's pretty popular in 2016, I think. Like, people seemed to like her message then, think she was pretty on point or whatever, but it didn't take long for everybody to realize, like, she's not even really a Democrat. She's just kind of grifting, and it worked. A lot of the grift worked. But anyway, yeah, she kind of fell out of favor among Democrats a long time ago. So,
what you're working on?
Here, to me, Gene, what's powerful about this, we saw Vernon Jones, who was a Democrat congressman, African-American in Georgia, do this, where he flipped Democrat parties. She's now doing this. I think you're going to see this at a broad level, not just with women. You're going to see this with African-Americans, and I believe Hispanics are going to be the largest population that is going to make this mass exodus. We're seeing this. You and I talked about this.
Okay, we're not seeing a mass exodus from the Democratic Party. We have seen a mass exodus from the Republican Party. Not mass enough, of course, sadly. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have left Trumpism and the Republican Party behind completely because of their extremism. We're not seeing like a mass exodus from the Democratic Party. It's just not happening. I'm sorry. There's no evidence for this.
Last week in New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada, they're a third Hispanic, and those are some of the top Senate and governor races in the country. We had people sign up for you can just text MV to 80550. If you have any problems there, go to the website, millionvoices.org, and we send out free voter guides. And a lot of people like her, they've been Democrat, maybe they're...
Yeah, voter guides, what he's talking about there. He's like, the CEO or the president or something of this organization called Million Voices. Yeah, Million Voices. Millionvoices.org is their website. It's terrible. It's a far-right extremist organization whose goal is to tell voters who to vote for. So they send out these like voter guide pamphlets to like tell you who you're supposed to vote for. And, they send it out to like this TV show Flashpoint. They send it out to like Flashpoint's audience basically, and it's just messed up, dude. It's just straight up wrong.
They're independent, maybe they've stayed out of politics. When they see the policy positions of the two candidates fact by footnoted on every single thing, it changes a lot of people's opinion, Gene.
It sure does, and the whole reality here is it is a fact, and I love that's what you guys have done at Million Voices. Thank you for doing that.
Okay, I don't know what they mean by what's a fact. What are you talking about? If they're saying it's a fact, I'm going to want to fact check it. I just don't trust these people at all, like even a little bit.
So go to millionvoices.org or text MV to 80550. Listen, last week we talked about this, and if some of you are having problems signing up, go to the website, millionvoices.org. All right.
And it's going to be a hard pass for me, dog. Sorry.
Right. Jack Brewer is a former 3-time NFL team captain, philanthropist, ambassador. He's also an ordained minister. In 2006, he started the Brewer Foundation to assist people around the world to combat extreme poverty and human rights challenges. The foundation supports 35 orphan care centers. That's amazing. And has provided sports equipment, medical aid, and programs that address fatherlessness in America's hardest hit Black community. Welcome to the show. It's our honor, Jack, good to have you here.
Okay, interesting. Never heard of this organization. But once again, if it's coming from Flashpoint, this TV show, it's not trustworthy. You need to fact check literally every word out of their mouths. The people they have on are not trustworthy. The things that they say cannot be trusted. You need to look it all up yourself because they are well known for lying about things regularly.
Great to be back with you, brother.
Yeah, great to be here. And listen, I'm sorry that whole Dallas Cowboy things didn't work out for you, even though you went to school in Grapevine.
Yeah, I feel like this is some kind of a weird inside joke that I'm not picking up on.
Yeah, I ended up having to go up to Minnesota and play ball, which wasn't so bad. But
yeah,
I'll always love my brothers in Texas.
All right, so Jack, I want to get your take on. You heard it, we briefly touched on Tulsi Gabbard. There's a lot going on with the whole Democratic Party. You've seen a lot of sway in here, and you yourself, were a pro-Obama backer back,
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I can see people being pro-Obama and then switching positions. Go on.
Back in 2008, I believe. And then you changed. What does this say for the Democratic Party?
It says that people change positions sometimes. They're trying to make it out like there's some mass exodus. There just isn't. It's not supported by the data. We are getting a lot more polarized, on the other hand, in the U.S. Like, there are fewer independents now, and there are more Republicans and more Democrats than ever at this point, which is a bad sign. It's bad to have this hard political polarization like we're seeing right now, but it's just not, there's not this mass exodus like they're trying to say.
The Democratic Party is having an identity issue. People like myself, I voted Democrat literally all my life. The first president I ever voted for, Democrat, was President Trump. And I didn't even vote for Governor DeSantis in the last election cycle. I'll be voting for him this time. And so people like me.
Okay, DeSantis, if they want to try to pretend that DeSantis is anything like traditional standard. Look, okay, let me tell you what they're doing right now. They're trying to make it out like the Democratic Party has gone so far left, it's like completely, you can't even see it from where they used to be. Like Bill Clinton's politics. Wow, that just hit me with a troll block. Bunch of jerks. Bill Clinton's politics were not more moderate than, or we're not more right wing. Okay, let me rephrase this. Obama and Hillary Clinton and I will say that Hillary Clinton was not like more moderate than Bill Clinton or more left wing than Bill Clinton. Hillary Clinton was basically just as right wing or left wing as Bill. They're trying to make it out like there's this massive shift to the left in the Democratic Party. It's just nonsense. There wasn't a massive shift left. There was a massive shift right. And what they're doing here on Flashpoint is trying to convince you that there was no shift right. You just don't believe your lying eyes. What's actually happening is the Democratic Party is moving left. You're not moving right. They're moving left. Hence why he says he used to vote Democrat, and now he's voting for Ron DeSantis. That's complete nonsense. It does not logically follow. It's outrageous.
Have always, been brainwashed and looked at Democrats as the old school Democrats, the ones that had common sense, that actually.
There ultimately is no difference between old school Democrats and modern Democrats. They want you to think that you're moving left, not that they're moving right.
Believed in biblical marriage and believed in righteousness through the word of God. But those things are slowly changing. And so the world that we see now for the Democratic Party is one that has no spirituality. As a matter of fact, it embraces things that are abominations.
Dude, what? The Democratic Party has no spirituality. Are you kidding me? There are so many like Christian Democrats out there. You've got to be joking. They are doing everything they can to convince people that politically their audience on Flashpoint are exactly where they've always been. The Democrats are just moving to way off to the left. It's just not. It's ridiculous. Sadly, people are believing it. Unfortunately, their listeners are believing it.
According to the Word of God, it's very hard for you to hold to your faith and vote for the Democratic Party right now in 2022. Just given the fact of everything that they support, the way that they've completely tried to dismantle the nuclear family. I mean, you just see what's...
Dude, what? The Democrats trying to dismantle the nuclear family? What are you even talking about? Democrats are not trying to dismantle the nuclear family? It's all propaganda all the time with these people. Seriously. It's nuts.
Going on, and particularly in underserved and African-American communities where the culture is just satanic. I mean, the music that our kids is listening to now, the words that they say, the way that they act.
Oh, give me a break. This is like, God, this is just boomer central over here. I don't say that as like an insult against the older generation, honestly. This is all about a mindset. An older, fear-based mindset where people are afraid that they're being replaced, or that, the kids these days are just changing too quickly and they're into terrible stuff. And it's just nuts, dude. Where are these people's heads at? Seriously, this is crazy.
It really is, for me, it's embarrassing at times as a proud Black man who grew up in a time where, discipline and order and family actually meant something. And now we've kind of lost our way. And so I think the Democratic Party has a lot of issues because they're trying to hold on and grasp onto a lot of things that Americans are just simply sick and tired of. They can't send their kids to these public schools anymore and feel safe. The crime has just taken over the communities.
So this is interesting. This is what's called a dog whistle, what he said there just now. They can't send their kids to these schools and have them feel safe. That line right there appeals to both Republicans and Democrats, but for different reasons. That's what makes it a dog whistle. His core audience hears one thing. A general audience hears another thing. That's what a dog whistle is. If you're a Democrat listening to what he's saying here, you think he is in favor of restricting guns or, some kind of a program to increase background checks or something. That's something that most left-wingers can agree with. And, if you're on that side, then you think that he's blaming the Democrats for that. You think that the right wing, the Republicans, are the ones that are in favor of resolving this gun issue, and the Democrats are standing in the way of that. If you're a Republican, what you hear him saying is, they're trying to take our kids and convince them that they're a different gender or that they're gay or whatever other thing. It's two different messages with the same sentence, appealing to both groups simultaneously. That's what a dog whistle is. And it is an elaborate form of propaganda. It's honestly really hard to, do dog whistles properly, but this guy seems to be a pro at it. Honestly disgusting.
And most people living in these towns don't want to walk outside in fear for their life of getting robbed or shot. And then they're just letting these people out of jail the second that they get in. And so
this is nonsense. This is all nonsense. What he's talking about here could be resolved with bail reform, which is something that Republicans have historically been opposed to. Democrats have been in favor of. if he wants to push bail reform, if he wants to fix the whole thing, it's possible. Republicans have been standing in the way. Anytime there are plans on the table, we know how we could resolve some of these issues. He doesn't want to resolve the issues. He wants to complain about the issues. Once the issues go away, he doesn't have propaganda, or he doesn't have a piece of propaganda he can use against the Democrats anymore. See how that works? All right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop there for this. If you want to see more of this, which I definitely want to talk about this more. If you want to see more of it, come check it out on my Telltale Unfiltered YouTube channel tomorrow morning, or come to my Twitch channel tomorrow morning. I'll be streaming on both simultaneously. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be finishing this Flashpoint episode. I think this is absolutely fascinating to listen to. Some of these Flashpoint episodes are duds. Some of them are right on point. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, follow me over there on Telltale Unfiltered. Link is in the description. And give it a watch. Oh, Humorous, welcome back. Well, Owen, I would stay and support your channel like I always have, but apparently your mods and your audience don't appreciate when I support your $300 super chat. Have a good day, everybody. Okay, yeah, I'm not really familiar with what happened the other day. I don't want to. I don't want you to go. Like, whether you super chat or not, I don't want you to go anywhere. Disagreements are okay. I feel that disagreements are okay. And even super chatting something that's questionable, or that even if it was something I completely disagree with, Trump won and, Hillary sucks or Biden sucks or whatever else, it would be okay if you super chatted that in my eyes. As long as I have a chance to read it and debunk it, I'm good with that. I hope you don't go anywhere, whether you super chat or not. I encourage disagreements. I don't want an echo chamber. So anyway, thank you for the super chat, for all of them up to this point, and I hope you do stick around, because echo chambers aren't good. But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming and thanks for the super chat. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think I'm caught up. Just checking through. Okay, cool. Well, tell you what, guys, appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. It's been fun. I am going to continue watching this tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. on my Unfiltered channel. You can find it in the description. And, yeah, I guess I'm out of here. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys hopefully tomorrow morning. If not, I'll talk to you next week. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I sell all kinds of shirts and stickers and stuff on there. Second, you can support me by checking out my Etsy store. I sell 3D printed stands for every system, from the original Nintendo to the Xbox One. And finally, if you want to support me in other ways, you can check me out on my other channels. I have the podcast channel, which is where I talk about whatever's on my mind. Politics, social issues, whatever. You can also find it everywhere podcasts can be found. Or you can check out the videos on my main channel, where I focus on destructive cults. As it is with most channels these days, I rely on the support of viewers like you to keep my channel alive, so sharing my work is extremely helpful. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.